Are you stressed? I think all of us could easily answer yes to this question, because our lives are so different now than they were a year ago or even just a few months ago at this time. We've got financial troubles, weight gain, lack of social interaction, wondering about returning to school this fall, uncertainty about our future, fear of getting COVID-19, political and social unrest, and we could all just be doom scrolling on our phones until dawn each and every day if we're not careful. But this type of stress, it's not new to us. St. Francis de Sales wrote about it in his book, The Introduction to the Devout Life. And St. Francis de Sales tells us that after sin, stress, or as he calls it, anxiety, is the second worst thing that can happen to us. Francis writes that stressful situations, especially if you're always under stress or thinking about stress, it can just cripple you, so you don't do anything but sit and worry all day long. St. Francis recognizes this isn't a unique situation, but it's very common. And he gives us 3 steps on what to do when you find yourself in this type of high-stress moment. First, St. Francis de Sales says, when you recognize that you're in this kind of stress, briefly step away from it. Francis says, stop and examine yourself. See how you're doing once you recognize you're in this stress. Take some deep breaths. Calm yourself. Recognize that you're in a stressful situation. And why should we do this? Well, Francis says when we're worried and we're stressed, our minds are going about 10,000 miles an hour. And we're not just thinking about realistic outcomes, we're imagining every possible outcome. And that's just contributing to our overall stress. So take a moment, he says, and disengage. Take a few deep breaths. Maybe step outside for a moment. And then return and look at the issue again. Is it a situation you can work on? Is it something that's within your power to change? If it is, then create a plan. List the steps you need to take, write them down, and then only when you're calm, slowly and gently begin to resolve them. Second, St. Francis de Sales says, when you're stressed like this, bring God into the situation. Short prayers are best. Prayers like, Lord, into your hands I commend my spirit, or Jesus, you've taken hold of me, please don't let me go. When I personally get stressed and things don't go my way, 2 of my favorite prayers are, Jesus, be with me now, and Lord, stay with me as I face my fear. Sometimes I just will say these prayers over and over until I calm down. And third and final, I think this is the best advice for all of us. St. Francis de Sales tells us not to let our stress or our anxiety just stay within us. He says, talk to someone else about it. Francis says it could be a pastor, it could be a spiritual director, it could be a mentor, or a teacher, or a counselor, or a coach, or even a trusted friend. But the important thing is to call, talk, text, Zoom, FaceTime, whatever. But talk about it out loud with someone you trust and who you know cares for you. Because when we can talk about our stress and our anxieties out loud, they often lose their power over us. And it becomes something that, with help and a plan, we can begin to manage. So stress and anxiety are parts of our life. They're not going to go away, but they don't have to run our lives. When we become overwhelmed, let's remember that we are never alone. Our God is always with us, and our friends and those who care for us surround us. And if we let them help us, we'll never have to walk and carry this stressful burden alone. May God be praised.